Hi. Hello from Munich.
Thank you so much for joining us. It truly is an honor to meet you and to share When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit with our audience.
Thank you. I'm very honored that you show my movie.
Oh, it's truly our pleasure. Now, before we begin, I'd like to share a bit of your background with those who are watching who might not be as familiar with your work. Carolyn, you're regarded as one of Germany's most esteemed filmmakers and storytellers. Your 1996 film, Beyond Silence, about the daughter of a deaf couple who falls in love with music, received an Oscar nomination for Best Foreign Language Film. In 2003, your film Nowhere in Africa took home that same Oscar and shepherded in a new era of visibility and vigor for German cinema. Your eighth feature to date, When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit, is a film adaptation of Judith Kerr's semi-autobiographical best-selling novel of the same name. Told from the perspective of a 9-year-old German Jewish girl whose family is forced to flee Berlin before the start of the war, Pink Rabbit addresses the complexities of loss, exile, and coming of age in the most turbulent times. Carolyn, family, childhood, and coming of age seem to be recurring themes in your work. Can you talk about what continues to draw you into these themes and what captured your imagination in the young adult novel that inspired your current film?
Long before I decided to become a filmmaker, I was always very fascinated by childhood, by children, by the way they cope with their fate or with their difficult situations in life. And I always, as a young woman, I always wanted to do something with children. I never really knew what exactly that would be. I wanted to work with maybe with children in difficulties or in different life or in difficult life situations. And I even thought about studying psychology and work as a children's psychologist. Or I wasn't always in my life into movies. I was always interested in children and childhood themes. And when I went to film school, the first student film I made, it already had to do something with children. What I like about telling stories of children or through the eyes of children, I don't really make children's films. I tell stories for grown-ups with children as protagonists, is that I like that children have more future than past. You know, they look into the future. They, Apollina, they look into the they look into the future, and they are open to the worlds where they are new, and they are not prejudiced. They try to, make the best out of new and new situations, and sometimes we are grown-ups. We tend to be too skeptical, too much in our past, and we know how we like things and we don't like things. And what I like about children is that they are open to new experiences, and I love that about the story Nowhere in Africa. And I like that a lot about the story that Judith Kerr told us in her book. I read that book when I was 11 years old in school in the 70s, and it moved me very much, and I was very grateful to Judith Kerr that I didn't have to be afraid of that book. It wasn't shocking on the outside. It wasn't extremely brutal, even though it talks about that horrible time of our German history. But still, it was very warm-hearted. It was even optimistic. And Judith Kerr said many times in interviews and to me on the telephone, then that those years of this long journey were the most beautiful years in her life. And of course, that is a very surprising thing to say for a Jewish girl who had to leave Germany because of the Nazis. But she experienced those years with her family and her parents as very intense and very warm and very strong years, because the family stood so strongly together. And all that moved me when I was a little girl, and it moved me again when I was when I read it 3 years ago when the producers offered it to me. I always, in my other movies too, I always, if you know the movies, have a certain interest in father-daughter relationships. That somehow is something that is is something that I like a lot to talk about. I don't even know why. My own father always told me, what's going on between us, Caroline? Do you have a certain necessity to express the relationship father-daughter? Why did I do anything wrong? Or is there something that we have to talk about? And I said, I don't know. I can't explain it. But the father-daughter relationship is something that I don't know, has to do something with myself. And my father was a very dominant and extreme character, but a very loving father as well. And what I liked about the book from Judith Kerr is also that Anna and her father had a very mature relationship. She was 9 years in the story and in the book that Judith Kerr wrote, but still he spoke with her like with a grown-up, with an adult, and he took her very serious. And I think the parents, both parents, and especially the father, managed to give both children, protect both children from the horrible facts outside. The father tried to always point out the positive. He always tried to say, yes, it is sad that we had to leave, but look what is happening now. Look into the future. Look what's beautiful about the places we are, where we are now. And maybe we lost home, but maybe the world can be our home. And Judith Kerr was very grateful to her father that he managed to keep all the worries and all the pain a little bit away from the children. So I think she couldn't do that. Anna couldn't do that by herself, but she was dependent on the positivity and the optimism from her father, I think.
Yeah, she had a very strong role model and someone she could look up to. And I
Yeah.
think the way you portrayed their relationship was very moving and beautiful. And I'm glad to hear that it's also accurate to the story. So
Yeah.
picking up on something that you mentioned earlier, you were talking about the brutality of the Nazis, and this film could have made an artistic choice to include that type of brutality cinematically. I think that your film, like Jojo Rabbit, offers a new generation of young people a way into understanding the atrocities of war and the Nazi era, but in a less intimidating way. It doesn't slap you in the face with the brutality, but it allows you to understand how people's lives can be completely derailed, how you could end up leaving your home and having to leave your house behind and everybody you know. So I think it's a very timely film, and I think it's important to this new generation to see it.
Judith Kerr wrote the book when I think in 71, and in Germany she wrote it in English, and in Germany it came out 74. So that it is a very old book. Like I said, I read it when I was a little girl. But yeah, she wanted to write a book for children because there was nothing in Germany that you could show to smaller children. In Germany today, when you're 15, 16 in school, then you go, you have to talk about the National Socialism, then you have to go to a national concentration camp to visit the site and to see the pictures and the movies and all the documentaries and all this horrible stuff, all those facts. But for smaller children, there was nothing really. And Judith tried to write a book that is not playing the whole tragedy down, but that is bearable for smaller children. And I think she did a very beautiful job. And when I was offered the book, I said to everybody, I don't want to dramatize it on the outside. I don't want to pretend there's much more going on and that the family is under immediate threat or that there are Nazis hammering on the door. We have seen that in so many German movies before. But what I liked about the novel so much is that it is deep, that it is painful, that it is very sad, and it always moves me when I read it. But it works without the outside drama, and it is only inside. And that was very important to me, that we don't over dramatize it now, that we don't change it for the screen, that it has the intensity that it has as a book also on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have made a completely different movie if you added all those other components in, and it wouldn't feel organic to who this family was and what they went through.
Yeah, it was kind of difficult. Many people already tried to write screenplays after the novel, and it is not so easy because there is not really very much going on. I mean, they change the places where they are, but there is no suspense in the dramaturgic sense, you know. There
Mhm.
is there is nowhere they know they have to get to, or whatever. So we invented little things like the calendar that Anna crosses the days until they go back home, until she finally understands that she can throw the calendar away because they are not going to go back home ever. And this is little things, little scenes that talk about the inside of that girl, um, much more than dramatizing the outside.
What I really loved about Pink Rabbit, and perhaps this is true of good cinema in general, is how effective the film is at building and inspiring empathy. And I'm sure you're aware now of the situation in the United States, especially today. We're 1 week out from our general election. Your film starts the day before the election in Germany. I believe our audience would really be interested to hear what is the current German zeitgeist and the reaction Germany has had to your film?
um, the reviews and the reactions from the audience were very positive. We were afraid that people might say, "Oh, not again, another Hitler story, another Nazi story." But of course, the book is very known in Germany. Not so much from children anymore; they read other stories now in school. But the grown-ups and the grandparents, like I'm a parent, you know, I read it in school. They read it in school, so it's very known. People were kind of curious, who plays Judith Kerr, who plays Anna, how does that work? And it was very well received because I think it is not the typical Nazi movie, because as you said, it is not shocking, it is not brutal, it approaches that time a little bit more from the inside. And Anna is a refugee from our world, you know. Children can identify a lot with her because she comes from a world that they know very well. Anna is, a girl like they are, like the girls are today. You know, there is not much difference. And if they see and read today a lot about refugees coming from other countries, then many children might think, okay, this is not, they don't come from the world I know, but Anna is completely out of their world. And that tells them, you know, it can happen to anybody. It can happen to you, to me, in the moment where I am wrong because of my color of skin or my political opinion, or because I'm Jewish or have the wrong religion in the heads of other people. Then I might be the one who is persecuted. And this, I think, gives parents, grandparents, schools a lot to talk about with the children, because Anna and her brother are close to the children today.
The young protagonist is played by Riva Kremilowski.
Mhm.
I thought she was absolutely a joy to watch on screen. I mean, she really captured your heart from the first scene in the film. Can you talk about what it's like directing child actors and how you found this particular actress?
Yeah, Riva went to the same school like Judith Kerr. That is a funny coincidence, but that was the first thing she told me when she entered our casting studio. She stood there in front of me, and of course, I realized how sweet she is, how cute she is, and how much temperament she has. But I was only looking at my casting director, and we both looked at each other and said, "Let's hope that she has some talent as well, and is not only cute, you know." And then
Mhm.
she talked about the school she went to, and that Judith Kerr went to the same school before she had to leave Germany, and that she read the book very early because of that, and that she knows a lot about the story. And then she told me that she is from a Jewish family too. And that is not a qualification to play that part, but as I learned later, in a way, yes, it was, because um, the whole story meant a lot to Riva. And I think you can see that as an audience. You can see when you watch the movie that she knows what she's playing, that she knows what she's acting. Like, for example, there's this one scene in the movie when this friend from Berlin brings the clock from the uncle who died in Germany, and Reba takes it in the kitchen and she blows it again, and she started crying, and I never told her to cry. I didn't even want tears in that scene, really. But she started to cry, and when I asked her, "Sweetie, why did you cry? That was wonderful. We were also moved behind the camera." She said, "It is such a sad, sad time. It was so horrible. I just, it didn't happen again on the second take or third take. She didn't cry anymore, but the first time she really acted, she felt a lot, and she always felt a lot. She's a very deep young person, and that was wonderful to work with."
And is she going to continue acting? Is this something that she really enjoys now?
She really enjoyed it, but I always tell the parents, wait, wait, wait. This is maybe a once in a lifetime experience to shoot such a part and such a movie. I know there comes, how do you say, when children get older, they are not as sweet anymore. Many things, you're always judged from the outside. Many things happen. Maybe she's not even interested. I always try to play the hopes a little bit down and say, you decide. If you are definitely talented, if you want it, you do it. If you don't want it, you don't do it. But don't sit next to the telephone and wait for the next huge part. We don't have such a big film industry as you have it in America, so who knows? But she would like to do another movie. Yes, she knows that when children are good in what they're doing and talented, then it's just a wonderful experience. If I don't have to push them, or if they experience it comes natural to them, then it's a very, very uplifting and positive and a good experience, I think.
And this is just a silly question, but how long did it take you to find the perfect pink rabbit that you were going to use in this film?
Yeah, that took us quite a while. The toy, you mean? Really, the toy? Yeah, we painted it pink, as you might tell, and it is 90% okay, but maybe not 100%. I wasn't so sure whether, but there were not really pink rabbits. I wonder, I even asked Judith Kerr, was your rabbit really pink? Can you remember that it was pink? And she said, well, it wasn't really pink. It was kind of brownish, reddish, because in the 30s there was no pink in stuffed animals. And so we wanted a pink rabbit because this book is called like that. So we had to help it a little bit with color, and maybe it doesn't really look like a toy from 1933. I'm not really sure.
No, I mean, I thought it was a very serviceable pink rabbit.
Okay, good.
So another relationship in the film that I thought you captured beautifully is Anna's relationship with her beloved maid and confidant, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, but Hempy?
Hempy, yes.
Yes. And it was played by Ursula Werner. I thought just the relationship was incredibly moving and very realistic. And so I wanted to ask you, how do you develop your story's main characters, and when does casting come into play? Is it after the characters are fully developed, somewhere along the way, or is casting first?
As I said before, Germany is not a big country for movies, and the actors. As a filmmaker, the actors. Of course, maybe not all the actors, and sometimes you miss good ones because you've never seen them. But I know many actors in Germany, and I did a movie 2 years before The Pink Rabbit, and Ursula Werner played a big part in that. And that was a very, very warm-hearted grandmother in that other movie. So I knew I want her as Heimpi. She was really for the part, a little bit too old, because in the book she's much younger, but I knew that Ursula can do so much more than just being a nice little grandmother. She has such a fine and how do you say that in English, a subtle way of acting, and I thought she's perfect for that. And so I changed the part a little bit from what is in the novel, and I created it for this actress. Sometimes I do that, not all the time I do that, but sometimes I do that I have somebody in mind, and I hope that they play it then, and I write the part for the actor. But sometimes I just write and don't know who's playing it.
I'm curious to know about place. How does place fit in when you're telling your story? Do you spend a lot of time searching for the right locations? You know, does the atmosphere of a scene have to be exactly so? Or are you a stickler for all the details? If you can talk about the sense of place in your films.
Are you talking about the locations, the
Yeah,
places?
locations and interior shots, all of that.
Yeah, I feel very, very happy that I have a team, a crew that works with me for many years now, and especially my art director, I think it is, right? In English.
Yeah.
In German, it's Szenenbildner, but I think it's art director. A lady, a woman, a good friend of mine, Susanne Bieling, who picks the locations together with me, and we talk a lot about the interior and everything. And I trust her very much, and we know what we like and what we think is important and what is too much or too little, or the atmospheres we want to create. There is this common ground that we have after many years now. She did all my movies, and we know what we like. But of course, every movie is new, and every situation is a new challenge. And so, um, yeah, some. I always, when I go to a location, I always think about what is supposed to happen there. I mean, I know the scenes, of course, and I know what I want from a location. I know, is anybody, do I want, what I liked about the house of the campus in Berlin is that you can walk in a circle from the hallway, through the kitchen, through the living room, through the room of the father, that there are doors, and that you can run in a circle, because I knew there's going to be the scene when Anna comes down and she says goodbye to every detail. She says goodbye to the living room, to the kitchen table, to the dining table, and to the piano. And I knew, when we looked at the house, I had that in mind, that I would like that she doesn't have to go back and forth, but that she can run like this. And so I have sometimes, I have emotional, important moments in the scene, and then I look for the location that serves that moment. And then, of course, we talk a lot about color, about fabrics, and about the warmth. We built the whole apartment in Paris. We built in a studio, and that I find very difficult, because if no view through a window, and nothing is there, you have to create everything, from every doorknob to every little thing. Then I am allergic against artificial feeling. I want it to be natural, and I want it to be real. So we work a lot on details, on every color, the walls, and everything, so that's a lot of conversation, a lot of trying. And today it's much easier, because you can do a lot already as a layout on the computer, so that helps a lot.
And what do you enjoy most about the filmmaking process? Is it before you get to the set, during the writing and conceptualizing, or are you somebody that just really enjoys being in the moment with the actors and directing?
The good thing about this job, and that is why I really truly love it so much, is that it has all. I have the silence when I'm writing. I can withdraw from society, and that is very helpful right now in Corona times. I am creative. I can be creative. I can be busy. I just need a table, my laptop, and a chair, and I don't have to go out. I don't have to put myself in danger right now. And I there's still a lot going on in my head, and I have things to do that keep me busy, and everybody who works creatively knows how fulfilling it is to work creatively. So that is the writing process that I always enjoy a lot. But after a while, I want to get out, and I want to do things, and then I'm looking forward to shoot the scenes that I made up in my head, and then I hear actors say the words that I wrote, and that is satisfying, of course, if it works, or I have to rewrite the whole thing. So the filming is great. Sometimes it's very, very tiring, stressy. You never have enough money, and I couldn't do that 200 days a year. I enjoy working on a movie every other year or every 3 years, but not all the time, because it is really exhausting shooting a movie. And then the editing is another creative process where the movie is really made again for the third time. First writing, then shooting, then editing it. So I like all of it, and I like it that it is how do you say, alternating, or
Mhm.
that you have it all. Yeah.
Well, I think you've answered most of my questions. I do want to know what you're working on now, if I can pry. Have you been coming up with any new ideas during quarantine?
Yeah, I'm developing a TV series right now, and it is about two children's psychologists. It is about two young people who do therapy with children, and it's about different children who come as clients and have different challenges. And yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Is this a documentary style or fiction?
Fiction, fiction.
Okay.
I will need great children again. So I will start casting soon, because we need children in the age between 5 and 16. So we will have to find really great young actors again, once again. But I'm not afraid of that, because I know that there are many great children out there who can act and who do amazing things.
Yeah, well, I wish you all the luck in the world with this new series. It sounds like it's right up your alley, and it will offer you some new creative opportunities, I think, in this new format.
Yes, yeah, that's something completely new for me. There's a different time pressure behind it, because I won't have the same amount of shooting days like for a cinema, a feature film.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like it. I like it. It's going to be challenging and something new for me. Yes.
And before we go, if you can just talk about your favorite scene of the film, something that, stays with you when you think back on your experience directing When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit.
My favorite scene, oh, that's hard to say. I don't really have a favorite scene. I like the idea that the children um, gave me, because they were fooling around on the set, and I had in Switzerland this sweet, funny little redheaded girl,
Mhm.
Vreneli, and how they always played, and Riva and Hannah, they were all of a sudden under those animal skins. Is
Mhm.
that the English word? Yeah,
Yeah.
and they decided, and then we decided spontaneously to do that. That they are talking about their goodbyes under those deer skins, and I thought that was very cute, because we set up a whole different location for that scene, for the goodbye in the garden, or on the apple tree and whatever. And then they said, no, let's do it here. And I love it when things come in the moment,
Mhm.
and I really like that scene, how Riva and Hannah, they lie under there and they talk about this deep stuff, and they look so funny because they are under those deep skin. But there are many scenes in the movie. I always liked a lot when Anna says to her mother on the carriage, don't forget us here. Don't forget to pick us up. Yeah, you come back. You sure you come back, mommy? Don't forget us here. And how she says, are you crazy? I would never forget my children. That always moves me so much.
Mhm. Yeah, it was very
It's very sweet,
sweet.
I think. How she, in the moment, she's very brave, and in this moment she says, but mom, one thing, don't forget me. I like that a lot. There
It's
are many beautiful moments in the novel from Judith Kerr, and so I'm very grateful to her.
Well, congratulations on making an extraordinary film. I'm very curious to see some of the films in your repertoire that, I just heard of when I was researching you, and I'll definitely keep an eye out for your new work. Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much
much.
for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And
Thank you very much.
yes, and enjoy the new series, and stay safe, be well, take
You too, please. Let's get that horrible time behind us, Corona times. Huh?